truth will not be silenced. The show that allows people to be seen, to be heard, and to be human. I'm your host, Melissa Woodfork White. In today's episode, we will talk about love music, Melophile, with Ian Smith. Sharing our stories allows us to be seen, to be heard, and to be human. There will be a special surprise at the end of the show. Be sure to listen all the way through for the details. Our special guest today is Ian Smith. He is an international professional disc jockey, wedding host, radio presenter, event organizer, and former recording artist. Yes, you heard me, former recording artist. He has 3 radio shows. One is weekly every Thursday and Northwest England based. 2 are bi-monthly every other Saturday and based in London. And the third is weekly every Saturday and based in the United States Midwest. Ian loves music, and his music empowers people from all walks of life to be free and happy. He is known as Bass Zone. Ian is currently completing a degree in journalism and broadcasting. He is a loving brother and uncle. Ian is going to share with us about love music, Melophile. Hi, Ian. Welcome to the show. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Hi, Melissa. Thank you so much for having me on the show. When I heard the description, I was thinking, is that me?
Yes, that is all you, man. Decades of you. So let's go ahead and jump right in. When did you first fall in love with music?
I would say from the first time I heard music. So my mother used to have a radiogram when I was a child, and she used to have a collection of 7-inch records that she used to play all the time. Now I'm from a Caribbean background, so my mother's from Jamaica, my father's from Jamaica as well. So they used to listen to a lot of blues and rock and roll, believe it or not. So my first memories of music take me back to like Clarence Strongman Henry, Fats Domino, Sam Cooke. Those are the people that they introduced me to music, and I used to love listening to music all the time. So that's my first introduction of music. And then as I got a bit older, I was introduced to, I've got older brothers and sisters who were like 6, 7, 8 years older than me.
Yes.
And they were listening to completely different music to my mother. So I was like, oh, what are they listening to? So they were listening to like Chic and Tavares and all the 70s soul and jazz funk and Brit funk. So I had a really, and then obviously some of them went to reggae as well. So Bob Marley. There's a ska connection when I was younger. So like ska came through. So I remember listening to My Boy Lollipop by Millie, the Israelites by Desmond Dekker. So I listened to quite a collection of like black music. So not just like blues, rock and roll, ska, reggae, and then soul, and then funk, and then jazz funk, and it's all started from there really.
Awesome. So growing up in my household, we listened to Motown.
Yeah.
And so we grew up with that Smokey Robinson, the Ray Charles, the oh my gosh, it's like right there.
Yeah,
James Brown, man. James Brown. Yes. And the Supremes, the Jackson 5. Oh my gosh. Yes, that is like so awesome. And I know you're familiar with Soul to Soul.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh my goodness. I'm not even going to try. But when we were growing up, I was in high school when Soul to Soul came out. And so we would do each one of the parts. Ian, please tell me you guys used to do stuff like this. We would sing each one of the parts. How do you want me? How? Oh my gosh. And then do the little dances that go along with it. I know you're guilty.
I joke about that in my shows every week when I play certain tracks from the vault. I say, we used to do these things, and I'm sure you used to do the same thing. So I'm really happy to hear that I'm not alone in this, and that me and my friends aren't alone. We used to do exactly what you're talking about.
Oh, awesome. So tell us, how did you become an international professional DJ?
It's a long story. So I started out, becoming a DJ was an accident for me because I was an artist before.
Wow.
So yes. I was like completely immersed in music, and I left home at 18 and I moved to the big city, which is like Manchester. I was born and raised in Bolton in the UK, which is like the biggest town in England. And then I moved to Manchester, which is like our second or third major city, because in Bolton I found that where I was at musically, I wasn't finding anybody like me who was into what I was into and wanted to do what I wanted to do. So I made a big bold move. I got a job in Manchester, then moved to Manchester, and then started to explore the music scene. And I was really lucky that when I landed in Manchester, there was a change going on. There was a changing of the guard. So we were kind of coming out of sort of like the funk, sort of like back end of jazz funk and disco era to a like R&B sort of hip hop, and hip hop was changing quite a bit at the time as well. Hip hop and R&B were very close together at the time, and there was lots of crossover. And there was like one section of DJs that were very old school and believed that soul was soul and R&B was R&B, and they stuck together. And then there was a new collective of guys around my age who were like, yeah, I grew up listening to that, but I'm into this, and I don't see why we can't play the two together, and why we can't fuse the two together in ways as well. And I like to another secret. Obviously, growing up in the UK, a lot of my experiences, like with music, were very American influenced. A lot of the bands I used to watch, and a lot of the artists we used to see, like on Top of the Pops and on shows, were from the USA. So we used to see, like, you know, the Drifters. When I was growing up as a child, they used to experiment all sorts of stuff. And then later on, like Shalimar, Marvin Gaye, all those guys, you know, Diana Ross,
Al Green,
the Jacksons. We used to see a lot of them. So I listened to a lot of that stuff. So I couldn't understand why there was like this, like the older guys were like, we only play that and we don't like the new stuff. And then they were like, why these young guys trying to play all that? I like that. And create new songs like what we call in mashups. I remember witnessing that for the first time live, someone playing a break beat and then an a cappella or something, and you're like, oh my god, how are you doing that? And it just blew my head off.
Yes, amazing.
Yeah, so I was like, oh my goodness. So I was learning to play bass guitar at the time because I needed an outlet for all this creative energy I had. And then I went and I was like, oh my god! So you can actually make music with two records now as well, and drop things with records. So I got into anyway. I was really lucky. I happened to come across a collective of guys called in Manchester, and they were really focused on bringing this new format to everybody. And they amassed this a humongous sound system. That's the biggest thing I've ever seen. And the bass used to like tear your chest out, but it sounded amazing.
Okay, so what was the name of the group?
Soul Control.
And is this how you got your name based on?
Absolutely. So I used to rap as well. So because of
my goodness! Now you know I did not know that about you. I did
Yeah.
not. I just learned
Yeah.
that about you.
Right. Sorry. So I
Are
was
you gonna drop us? Are you gonna drop us some bars?
No.
You know, I had to ask because I was like, I just learned something new about you. What? You used to
I used to rap. Yeah, and not just rap. I used to do gospel rap. This is back in '87, and it was like you rapping, you doing
That was before it became the phenomenon that it is today.
absolutely, absolutely. So
That is amazing, Ian.
I was finding break beats and like instrumentals and I'm making raps and rapping over those. So these guys who are called Soul Control were also looking for new talent to try and showcase with what they were doing. And I happened to be there on an open mic night, and somebody passed me the mic. I got them to put some break beats on, and I did a gospel rap. It tore that. They were like, oh my, they couldn't believe that someone was rapping over that stuff, and it was gospel. And a lot of us are from a church background, so I instantly had a report. They were like, "Oh my God, that's amazing."
I have to ask you, where can we listen to your record as an artist? Where can we find it?
As my right, I haven't.
Yes, you're recording. You're recording. Where can we find it? Like, I know from listening to your radio shows and so forth. Yeah. But where can our audience listen to it?
Right. So we have my band is on YouTube, and my band was called Three Flow. So if you go onto YouTube and type in three and then FLOW, Three Flow, and Sending Out is the single that we released, and I rap on that as well. That's the only thing that I've got that got recorded. We were rapping on it. A lot of people were surprised when they heard the rap. Until they saw the video.
Goodness.
Until they saw the video, they didn't realize I was rapping. They thought I just sang in it, and I got somebody else to do the rap.
I am look, you got me off guard. I'm definitely gonna listen to that after our show. I'm definitely gonna go because I am like in like awe that you were like, yeah, I did rap and it was gospel rap, and that was oh my gosh. For all we know, you're one of the pioneers of gospel rap.
Probably.
From in the beginning, because that was long before it became, you were about 10 years before we even got introduced to the concept of gospel rap. They were still frowning down on it. It was all about the Winans.
Thank you.
And Shirley Caesar, and they wasn't trying to hear that. But then in order to bridge what you talked about earlier, when you fell in love with music, about bridging the gap and bringing everything together, they eventually realized that with that gospel rap, they're going to have to bring their generation and the younger generation together and formulate something that's so powerful. So that's what eventually happened. And so, I'm going to go and, I'm going to have to go back. I'm going to have to go and listen to that.
I was always about trying to reach different people. How do you reach
yes.
And a lot of people didn't understand it and just thought I was inanely a little bit of a demon. Thinking, why are you trying to introduce that?
But when I listen to your music, I feel that. Yeah. It's not just for a certain genre, a certain generation, it's your music is really for everybody. And I'm like, you can't help but move, whether you know the words or not, and just happy dance. And so, and even when you play when you mix that slow stuff up, who ain't gonna fall in love and go make a baby?
Yeah, and I just think music's a very inclusive phenomenon. That's what it's made to communicate with everybody in different ways. And sometimes we're really stupid with it, with restricting. Oh, I don't play this and I don't like that and whatever. But no, I really embrace the genre of music, and try and play as much as I can in the time that I have whenever I'm out there. But that's so. My name. Let me go back to the bass song thing. So I got the moniker bass song because of when I used to rap. I have a deep talking voice, and I've rapped in a deep voice as well, which was very unusual at the time. So no one raps. So he's really deep. So that was noticed. And then I'm from a church background, so I used to sing bass on the choir. So I was like, well, I used to sing bass in the choir. That's why my voice is deep as well. And then I was learning bass guitar. So a lot of the stuff I was working with always started from a bass line. So they were like, you're like a bass zone, aren't you? Everything bass, and you're really deep. And so I was like, okay, I can go with that. So they called me. So I got the name Bass Zone. and I was known originally as MC Bass Zone because I used to
Oh, okay.
I used to rap and MC over stuff with the
Mm-hmm.
collective of guys I was with. And then eventually I was like, well, everyone knows you're an MC, so it's just, you know what I mean? It's just Bass Zone now. And then with the
Nice.
introduction of social media,
Mm-hmm.
later on down the line, we realized a lot of people that I had a lot of new people that discovered me, and then a lot of the old people that knew me as Bass Zone didn't actually know I was called Ian at all, or Ian Smith at all. They just knew me as
Right, because then you put it was Ian
yeah.
based on Smith.
So when I went social media, I had to incorporate it so that my old crew that I'd lost contact with could find me on there as Bass Zone, right? And they're like, "What did you know it's called Ian? I didn't know it's I didn't know." And then the new guys were like, "What's the Bass Zone about?" I'm like, "Oh, it's a long story."
Mhm. That is
Right.
so awesome. You know, you have to tell us about your 3 radio stations.
Right. So yeah. So radio wise, I used to do a lot of radio back in the '90s in Manchester. So I started out originally on a station called Soul Nation,
Mm-hmm.
which was run by one of the guys who I joined in the collective when I first moved to Manchester, and that became like I think it was one of the fourth. I think it was the fourth most listened to station at the time it was out in like the whole of the northwest region.
Yes, nice.
I started doing a graveyard show on the Saturday night, which is really lively and obviously really inclusive musically. I attracted the attention of some of the big wigs in the station and sort of said, "You're wasting Saturday night. We need to get your main, like, you know what I mean, during like the main section." But I
Mm-hmm.
was working at the time, so the only time I could do was like an early morning breakfast show before work.
Right, because I was about to say,
So they took me to an early morning breakfast show, and I used to wake up Manchester, and it used to be, yeah, we used to have some amazing time.
nice. So tell us how you did that, because before you decided to do full professional DJ, you let our audience know, you worked a job full time while you were pursuing your dream.
Absolutely. So yeah, I had a full time job. I worked in retail for many years, and I saved up. I saved up money. Bought myself some turntables and a mixer and some speakers. Converted a little room in my flat into like a little studio, so I could go in there and practice and stuff. Then I started to do. It took me a while. I have to be honest with you. The mixing thing was I found really difficult to do at first. It took me, oh my god, it must have taken me about 6, 7 months to master mixing. It's like
Mhm.
some nights again after work, and I was
Wait,
like,
you taught yourself how to do this and by
yeah,
watching other DJs?
yeah, yeah,
So no formal training. You were like,
yeah,
no, I'm just going all in. I'm gonna learn
yeah,
how to do it from the professionals, and I'm gonna.
absolutely,
Oh
yeah.
my
So
goodness,
yeah,
that's
so I had DJ
amazing.
friends. I used to go to events, and I'd watch what they're doing. I'm like, right, okay, I'm gonna learn that. So yeah, I went home. Took me several months until I worked out the formula. I'm like, right, that's the formula. Let me try this record with this record, and it mixed. I'm like, okay, let's try a different genre. Let's try this one with this one, and it mixed. And I'm like, okay, brilliant. Let's do cross genre. So let's have like something like rocky and something housey, and let's see if I can do that. And it mixed, and it's like, okay, let's try some hip hop with something like on a soulful house tip. And I managed to, and I was like, okay, and I mixed. I'm like, right, I can mix. So after after
Wow.
after I did all the process and like realized right, I could mix, I then started to put out mixtapes everywhere.
Mhm.
So I used to give them to like
Oh
friends,
yeah.
and then
Those,
friends started to tell
I grew up
friends,
with those
and
mixtapes,
then
those
yeah,
undergrounds
and then I had
and
friends
CME.
who used to drive
Yes.
taxis all day, and they were like, "Oh, the radio's rubbish. Have you got any mixtapes?" So I started to supply all these taxi drivers with mixtapes, and everyone would get in the car and said, "Oh my god, the music in your car is amazing. I want you to. I'm going to call you all the time to take me because you got the coolest music." So I used to supply these taxi drivers. Some of the taxi drivers knew people that had clothes shops, like in the centre of where I lived in where I moved to Bury. So I used to supply lots of clothes shops in Bury with like cool R&B hip hop tapes.
So when people were shopping, they were listening to your music.
Yeah, and they didn't realize
Oh
it.
my
So,
goodness.
so all of a sudden, like I had this network of people I used to supply mixtapes to, and then I was like, right, okay, so people know what I can do and they like it. I need to find like I need to start doing events. I want to get out there and play what other people like. So I joined up with another friend of mine, new friend of mine that we got talking to at a party, and it turns out he used to collect records like I did, and was doing a similar type of thing, but he hadn't really thought about taking it out to the public, putting it out. I'm like, no, we need to do this. I need to do it. You need to do it. Let's do it together. So we got together, went approached some venues, and we got a Monday night in a local pub in the centre of Bury. Invited lots of people we knew and all the people I used to do the mixtapes for and stuff, and they came out and it started from there. They had a great night. They're like, yeah, you need to do these all the time. So we got a residency there every Monday, and eventually we found another residency somewhere else on a Thursday, until eventually we were able to get Saturday nights in places, and and we just carried on from there really.
Awesome. Oh my gosh. I'm still mooning over the part where you're like, yeah, I did gospel rap long before it was gospel rap. And yeah, you were good. And so I absolutely love your love of music.
Yeah.
So
So I was going to say, and I love when I listen to some of the new gospel rap now and the new contemporary gospel stuff. I'm like, this is where I love that we got there, and this is where we're at now. So sorry, yeah.
Yes, it's amazing. So tell us how does sharing your story today help others, and what it is that you're currently doing.
So I'm currently doing a degree in broadcasting and journalism. So I've been a DJ for 3 decades now, really, and professionally, because I now do it as a full-time job. It's my main source of income. So I do corporate work, I do weddings, and I do private functions as well. And then radio-wise, I got back into radio about 3 years ago. I started on Halfon Radio, which is based in Bolton, in my hometown, on a Thursday night, and doing a soul and R&B show, a classic and new and classic soul. And from there, it really picked up. To be honest with you as well, I had to be persuaded because I'm really busy, and I just
yes, you are. I'm so glad that I was able to get you on my show. You are.
I didn't think I had the time, but I was persuaded by some really good friends. So I said, sorry, actually, I got onto the station because somebody invited me on the station to talk about my love of music and to pick like 10 records that had influenced me somehow throughout my childhood and adulthood, which was really testing. It was really hard to do that. So I listened to so much music, and I was able to do that. And I went on this show on the station I'm on now, and the presenter said to me, your selection of music was amazing. You speak really well. You sound like you're really knowledgeable. Like you don't just listen to it. And I said, yeah, well, I'm a DJ. And he's like, oh my God, yeah, we need to get on the station. So he started like a bit of a silent whispering campaign. He knew friends of mine as well, and they all started whispering to me saying, yeah, we'll listen to that show. It's really good. We think you need your own show.
Oh my gosh, that is so amazing. And I think one thing that amazes me, how you've been a DJ, professional disc jockey, for over 3 decades, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get my degree in broadcasting and journalism. I'm like, if that's not helping somebody, it's helping me, because I'm like, it's never too late. There's not a time, date, or whatever on you pursuing your dream and doing it on a mass level. That is amazing. I commend you. That is so awesome. And you need to let us know when your graduation is, because we want to be there virtually if we can't be there in person.
I'll definitely let you know. It was to be honest with you, it was a really daunting decision to get into studying and stuff after just doing it off the cuff for so long. But I decided, seeing as I went down a professional route, and I gave everything else up to do this, because I've always done this as a sideline. It'd be nice to do it professionally, and be able to, have the necessary, letters after my name or qualifications to show that I've not just got the experience,
yes,
but I've got the actual technical know-how as well. So
yes, that is amazing. So Ian, tell our audience how they can book you, they can come see you, they can to your events, your social media, how they can listen to your radio stations. Let us have it.
Right. So we've just set up a brand new website, myself and DJ Rooms, who I do Smooth Urban Soul events with. So you can find out most information about me at www.smoothurbansoul.co.uk. On our website, there is information about the three radio shows that I do. So the first one being every Thursday, you can join me on Halfon Radio. That's over here in the northwest of England, and that's 6 till 9 p.m. UK time. Then every other Saturday, you can join me on Soul Groove Radio, which is based in London, and that's from 8 until 10 p.m. UK time. And then recently, very recently in the last 3 weeks, I've just been picked up by an American station, which is called Rhythm Flight Radio, and that's based in the Midwest. So I think that's, is it Missouri? Is it Missouri?
Yeah, that's the Midwest. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's in the Midwest, and that's called Rhythm Flight Radio. And I do a slot on there 4 till 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Mm-hmm. Is that right?
Yes, Central Standard Time. You got it.
I'm still getting used to the American time zones. I'm not 4 to 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, and which is 10 to 1 a.m. UK time, 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. in the morning. So yeah, and I have to say, I'm having the time of my life. I'm doing what I really love. I'm sharing my love of music with everybody, and I've been getting lots of love back as well. So it's win-win.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate all of your knowledge, your experience, everything. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to be on my show. I really appreciate you.
Listen, I can't thank you enough for inviting me on and actually giving me a platform to talk about me, because I'm always interviewing guests and artists and I want to know all about them. So it's nice that somebody wants to know a bit about me.
Yes. Next week, we'll continue to discuss and have conversations about real experiences, stories that need to be shared, seen, and heard that makes us human. The truth will not be silenced. To be seen, to be heard, to be human. The surprise. If you like and leave a positive comment about this show, you will get a shout out. This includes businesses, products, services, organizations, and events. Follow the link in our show. Let's Buzzsprout know we sent you and help support our show. Buzzsprout is the best way to launch a professional podcast. Want to ask a question, be a guest, or subscribe to this podcast? The truth will not be silenced. Click on the show link. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. It's been a real pleasure, Melissa. Thank you.